NFL. Cue Stephen A, please. We are now only hours from the trade deadline, and there's been a lot of talk out of Boston about what move they're going to make. Reports have them connected to Carmelo and Jimmy Butler. Max Kellerman, who should the Celtics trade for? Are you going Melo or Jimmy Buckets?
The answer is actually Carmelo Anthony, because these things don't take place in a vacuum. It depends on what you have to give up to get them. Jimmy Butler's a better fit for the team. He's a two-way player. But you have to give up right now. The sticking point is not only the Nets pick, which could be easily be #1 overall. It's not top 3 protected, not lottery protected. So you could get the #1 overall pick in the draft and Avery Bradley, and they're hung up on Crowder. You know, most people I've spoken to about this feel like the Knicks would be lucky to just get the pick. So if you don't have to give up actual rotation pieces who are valuable, especially on the defensive end, to get Carmelo, just for the pick you can do it. It's a lot. Or you have to give up the pick plus assets that could weaken your team right now to get Butler, you might as well go get Carmelo.
I agree with you that Carmelo is the guy to get it, but the reasons why are different than yours. I do believe that Melo is a better fit for the Boston Celtics. I do believe as a talent he's a better fit. I love Jimmy Butler. He can put up points, but not the way Melo can do it in terms of his perimeter accuracy. He definitely plays better defense than Melo. There's no question about that. But I think if you're Brad Stevens, you've got requisite parts that can be on the floor defensively. And I think the impediment to Boston's success is that other than that 5'9" miniature dynamo and Isaiah Thomas, who is one of the league-leading candidates for league MVP honors, you don't have a guy that you can give the ball to when it counts in crunch time and say, take me there, close this deal. Not only that, if you're the New York Knicks, Crowder, I like Crowder. I like Crowder a lot.
Me too.
And I think that he's a piece that you want on your team. I like Avery Bradley a lot, too. Max, both of them are 26 years old.
Yep.
If I'm the New York Knicks, I don't hesitate, but I also know that I'm not empowered because it's something that Melo has to approve because he has that no-trade clause, and that's what it comes down to.
In other words, Carmelo doesn't want to go to a place that's weakened by the trade for him, which is what happened with Denver.
I was told, Max, that he would want, if there was a way possible, he would want the team to remain intact, like a Crowder staying there.
That's why I love the idea.
He doesn't want to leave.
That's why I love the idea of the Knicks, Celtics making a trade. Of course, also the Celtics don't want to be haunted by players coming back and playing them and all those things. Neither do the Knicks. Tough to trade within the division. But if the Knicks could get that Nets pick for Carmelo, just the Nets pick, that's a haul. That might be the best overall pick in the draft.
You ain't getting no potentially #1 overall pick for Carmelo.
Right, but Danny
Ainge is not going to give that up.
You are getting it for Butler, and you're getting Avery Bradley for Butler, and you might even get Crowder. That's the sticking point. So what I'm saying is if the Celtics are serious about getting that other shot creator to get on the floor with Isaiah Thomas, lift some of the burden from him, yes, Jimmy Butler can get his own shot, but if he's going to cost you defensive guys who you need with Isaiah Thomas in addition, you're weakening yourself defensively and the pick, forget that. No. I would consider trading that pick to the Knicks for Carmelo. You keep your team intact.
No urgency for Boston to do anything because they're not expected to win this year no matter who they get. You keep that pick, particularly when it could be #1 overall.
And this just came in. We got some trades, fellas, according to our Mark Stein. Andrew Bogut and Justin Anderson in a conditional first-round pick will be traded from Dallas to Philadelphia for Nerlens Noel.
Ooh. Talk about Andrew Bogut. Do you not feel bad for him? In the finals with Golden State 2 years ago. Then in the finals, they win the championship 2 years ago. They go to Game 7 last year. He gets injured in Game 6. Now he goes from that to Dallas to now Philadelphia. I mean, damn.
All right.
He's had some bad luck.
We got to go. We got your final take. You guys brought up Boston. The Patriots are fresh off another Super Bowl title, but Max has a strong message for the reigning champs. His final take, and it's up next. Stay here.
Dear citizens of New England, I am here on behalf of a beleaguered sports nation with a message for you. No one anywhere in this country feels any sympathy whatsoever for you and your teams. There are sympathetic characters, and then there are all of you. Want to know why? Every single one of your major sports franchises has won a championship in the last 10 years, yet somehow you still play the persecution card. Just this week, 5-time champion Patriots owner Robert Kraft said publicly that he doesn't hold grudges, but he'll remember the injustice of Deflategate. So let's review the case that he and his team and all you fans are victims in all this. First, your best ever quarterback did or did not cheat on the way to your 4th Super Bowl title. Next, there was an investigation during which said incredible quarterback destroyed evidence. Then, the league commissioner suspended the quarterback. The quarterback fought the suspension and lost. The commissioner did indeed have the power vested in him, in part, by owners like Robert Kraft and also by the players' union. So the 39-year-old quarterback sat the first 4 games of the season, the team went 3-1, and the backup quarterback increased his potential trade value to first-round pick level. The rested, healthy star quarterback returned and basically ran the table, giving a 5th chip to Mr. Kraft and all of stubbornly self-pitying New England. But Robert Kraft, a bazillionaire champion, otherwise immune to criticism, will remember how awful the whole Deflategate thing was. Please. Hey, New England, living well is the best revenge. Whining after everything, and I mean everything, goes your way all the time. There's a reason everyone hates you guys. It's not that your teams are so good. It's that you handle it all so badly. Get over yourselves. Please. Sincerely, everyone else.
Max, where are you from?
New York City.
New York City. No, well said.
Good question, Molly.
That was fantastic, as always. We will see you guys all tomorrow. And, of course, for more Final Takes, you head to our Facebook and Twitter pages. Have a great day.
Flying act, who, in addition to that, has developed this great overall game, and yet the Clippers have shown they can win without Blake. Blake is injury-prone. Blake is a free agent. Maybe he doesn't re-sign. You ain't going to beat the Warriors. I mean, like, Doc Rivers thinks that this is his best group of guys and everything. They're going to beat the Warriors. Doc, stop. You know you're not going to beat the Warriors. Just be honest with yourself. You got to move this guy now while you can get something for him. And by the way, when you look at the Celtics and the Jimmy Butler deal, if Crowder is the holdup, whatever, the Celtics have other assets, including the next draft pick. It might be the #1 overall pick in the draft. It's unprotected. And Avery Bradley and others. So there's, and by the way, love Jimmy Butler. Maybe he's a better fit on the Celtics. But Blake Griffin's better than Jimmy Butler. I mean, Blake Griffin, if he's available, is the best available player right now in the A. Or nothing, a guy who doesn't necessarily fit with what you're doing with CP3, and you've shown you can win without him. An injury-prone guy. You can get a haul for him right now, and you ain't going to win you ain't getting out of the Western Conference. Why wouldn't you do that?
You know what? You and I agree with this because, I look at Blake Griffin. Listen, this is a guy that a couple of years ago when they lost and they blew that 3-2 lead against the Houston Rockets in the Western Conference semifinals. This is a guy that averaged, 25 and 12 in the postseason. Last year, he was injured. Let's look at him, and he played in 4 playoff games. He averaged 25 and 12 the year before. Last year, he only averaged 15. He was clearly not healthy. We get all of that. I just think the ship has sailed on Blake Griffin in L.A. And what I mean by that is in terms of him being a part of a championship formula. I'm not saying that he's not a great talent. Blake Griffin is a great talent. Blake Griffin could be box office for somebody. Blake Griffin has all the requisite skills. He belongs on this level. But there are levels to this, as we both always say. And I think when you talk about the elite of the elite, the creme de la creme, I think Blake Griffin, even though he works, even though CP3 is there, and you would think that the quintessential point guard that is CP3 would work for anybody, I think since CP3 has been in L.A., even though Blake has his numbers, the same fervor, the Skywalker's mentality, the aggression, and all the things that come with it, something is missing there. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. People have speculated that the relationship is not the greatest. I don't get that. CP has always told me they've had a good relationship. My only point is that there's something missing from Blake Griffin. And when I think about the Golden State Warriors, or even to a lesser degree the Houston Rockets, I don't worry too much about the Clippers because of Blake Griffin. I worry about CP3. I worry about DeAndre Jordan, who will dunk it on anybody, who rebounds and blocks shots. But I don't find myself too concerned about Blake Griffin. You need a third component with the Los Angeles Clippers that the opposition literally has to fear on both ends of the floor. If I could, and I know they probably can't, Max, if I could, would I trade Blake Griffin for Paul George? Yes, I would.
Sure.
In a Clippers uniform.
Absolutely.
I would do that deal.
Yeah,
I would do that
deal.
deal.
By the way, and this sounds crazy because you think you can get more for him, but if Carmelo Anthony's available, and the only way is to trade a guy
Well, you know how I feel about that.
Right,
Yeah.
but then Carmelo's with Chris Paul. In LA, that becomes a lure for LeBron James in addition to everything else. The crazy thing is, I know what Doc, I imagine what Doc must be thinking, which is you look at the Warriors without Bogut, and you think they're vulnerable to a team that can get in the paint, down low, post up. And Blake has a post game. He just refuses to go down there. Either Doc's not calling the plays or he doesn't want to go down there. But
he don't want to go down there. He don't want to go down there enough.
And that's crazy because Blake was once just this high-flying, amazing physical talent. Remember, President Obama at the time told Chris Paul, tell Blake he needs to get a 15-footer. Blake went out and got one. Blake showed an amazing overall game, passing, shooting, the whole thing. And then the question was, is he saving himself? Does he not have the explosive kind of hops that he used to have? When playoff time came around, he showed that he does have those hops. He just added this overall dimension to it. And you would think he should be a top 3 or 4 player in the league right now. But that unwillingness to get down low and maybe the dynamics on the team are stopping that. He's about to be a free agent.
Well,
if the Clippers don't get something for him and he leaves for nothing, that's a monumental failure on Doc's part as a GM.
My issue with Blake Griffin is in part with Doc Rivers, because I think Doc Rivers allows him to dribble the ball too much. How many times, Max, have we seen Blake Griffin get the ball 15, 19 feet away from the basket, and he's dribbling it between his legs and, spinning and doing all of this other stuff? You're 6'10". And you're a Skywalker. You're a man amongst boys on most nights. Utilize that to your advantage and command a level of respect and, dare I say, intimidation that forces teams to pay attention to you in a different fashion. We don't revere Chris Paul just because of his abilities on a basketball court. It's because he's a pit bull. And he comes at it, and you know that he's coming at you at every turn, and he will abuse you, he will embarrass you, he will annihilate you if you are not ready to go. That is the kind of mentality that we would like to see from Blake Griffin. We have not seen that for a very long time.
Just strategically, you remember with the Thunder, when Harden and Westbrook, and Harden was the sixth man, a lot of people said, well, why don't you play the best player